I'm Yvonne Hocking. Well, I was born in Broken Hill. My husband and I had my first son in Broken Hill. And we travelled around to the railway. He worked on the railway, so we had different places to go to. And all the children grew up all different places in the railways. And then we had grandchildren, and we got married. And they had a good time with their father until he died. I used to play Ring a Rosie for him and with him, and we just had a good time until he passed away. But I still got memories, and children are good to have memories of them, because they didn't want me to. Didn't want to talk about him. And I said, well, talk about him. He was your grandpa, and you've got good memories of him. And there's times when they thought they were going to upset me, but it was their memory of their grandparents, which was a good life for them. And I grew up in Broken Hill, and then we had to come to railways because we lived in Gladstone then. And all my years I've travelled around to end up in Port Pirie, which my luck was my children were growing up by then in school. And my luck, and I end up in this home now. And I'm 82 years old, and my children, I've got grandchildren, and they're all great-grandchildren. And I don't see very much of them, which makes me sad. But that's their life, you can't do nothing about it. But I enjoy life, and I'm happy. And with things, I'll make pens and bracelets and things like that. And I knit, so I think it's just what, in myself, I think I've had a hard life by bringing up my children when my husband died. And I think now that I think that back, and I think, well, I'd be sad now when you can do what you want to do when you couldn't do before. But there was times when I think I wasn't wanted because my children didn't come and see me, because as I got older and you live by yourself, which was times when they had their own family, but I make my own time, and it was good to know they were there for me if I wanted them. But if it wasn't for this home, I don't think I would know where it was. But I love it here. I don't see much of my family, but like I said, we had a good life together, my husband and I. He died of a heart attack. He was only 50 when he died. And I read all the children. And at times like that, when I think you've got to have responsibility and grow up and know what life's going to be, because I had children to teach them their father. And I think when that's a good, you think, oh yeah, can I do it? And you think, oh, God's there, I think He can help you. So, God, and so it was a good life until, like I said, I had my home in Port Pirie. We bought that. When I met my husband, I was a childcare worker. And as he got older, I used to babysit. But I didn't go out. They used to bring the children to me because my husband didn't want me to go out. And they, like if they went to work on ships and that, they, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something, for a couple of hours, they'd drop the children off. I used to, and I loved that. And that was sort of as my children grew up, I knew that was something I loved, because I love seeing other people's children, and sometimes I feel sorry for, excuse my language, but I'll take a child, because I feel sorry for children if they're mistreated from their family. Yeah. And I've always been like that. My children used to play around, and a little girl didn't have nothing, and they used to help my children to help one another and be good to them. Because I said, there's children out there that hasn't got nothing. And it's a good thing to be, but they will say, Mum, why haven't they got food? I said, well, they just can't afford it like you do. But I think you've got to bring like that. Now, like, I can share because a lot of people won't give. But I've been taught to share things because it's my way of living. And I think it's a good feeling that I know I can do that for people in myself. So, and not much, like I said, like I said, it was just a life that I lived, and that's just me. If no one likes me the way I am, well, that's just me, And I like singing like you do. I sing, and my mum was a singer, and so I think that's why I picked it up too. And I think much of my children didn't want one, but I always sang going around the house and I sing. We don't use music here, we've got mum singing. But it was just my life, and I wanted to be like that. But sometimes I get down in the dumps and get a bit upset, but that's me and myself. But so you've got one life and you've got to look after yourself. If you don't know one else well, that's what my opinion is. And that's me. That's just me. I don't care about anybody else. That's just me. And it's just the way things are. And I love Port Pirie. We've been here for years. My husband's, he died here, and I lost a daughter here. And I've been here ever since. She was only 26 when she died. So she died suddenly. And that took a blow on my husband. He died 2 years after that. But I lived out like that too, and I had that with marriages broke up all on top of one another. And I bear through it, so I had to, because I knew I had to keep going for the sake of other children. And it was hard at first, but, and I thought, well, I've got to be there, no one else is, I've got to bear with it, and I've got to be there, because I said, I've got to do it for the children's sake too, because they're only young, going to school too, and I had, and I always used to refer to my husband, why'd you leave me? Why'd you go so quickly and leave me with all this? But it wasn't his fault, he just died suddenly with a heart attack, so it was just the life I had to live. But when you have things on top of one another like that, it's hard in 5 years. When you have breakup and a death, and I lost that much. I went down to 9.5. I lost about 5 kilos, nearly 9 kilos, because I wasn't eating and I was grieving. And I went to doctors and they said, do you want a tablet? And I said, look, I don't believe in tablets. If I don't catch up tonight, I'll catch up next night. Because I reckon they're drugs. And you can get addicted to them. So that's why I didn't take them. But I've been through it, like I said, I knew I had to do it, and as the children grew up, and I think that's why you learn now what it's like to grow up and be responsibility for people, because you've had it yourself and you've got to go through it to believe in it. I know it's a hard life, but you've got to do it. I had no one else to help me, and it was hard on me, but I struggled with the bills and the growing children, and I think that because my sons weren't growing up, and by the time they all left school, I had a roof. I dressed them all, and they used to keep clothes on their back, and they might have been second-hand clothes, but still not the point. It was still, I kept them clean and dressed in that, because I knew I had to do it. It was just sometimes it was always hard, and I said, I just say to myself, well, you've got to do it. Thank God God's up there helping. I used to thank God God's up there helping. But I think it was just a good feeling that I could talk in myself. I could say, thank God I did it for the children's sake. Not really my sake, it was for the children's sake I did it, because I had no father and I had to do it. We were married on the 8th of March, my husband and I, and he went the railways. But he was sort of not a hard bloke, but he took life hard, and he had his old-fashioned ways. But I think I taught him a few things, but I think it was the way he was brought up with his parents. We can't change him. And I had my first child, and then I ended up with 8 children. It was a good life with 8. I had 2 miscarriages, and I ended up with 2 lives, and that was just my story of my kings, but it was just a way of living, and it was a good life. And like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world. If I didn't have this bad boy, I'd still been living at home. But I love it here now. I went to the Gladstone High School, because I lived in Broken Hill, and I went to the primary school, and after I went to high school, and I lived with my parents. I was 17, and I had a child. I dropped him out because my mum and dad couldn't look after him. And I often think of him. He's 63 now. He found me after all these years. He came looking for me, and I was surprised. I knew I had him. I didn't forget about him. And Mum and Dad, if I wasn't on a pension, and they were younger, I would have kept him. And like I said, he came with it, and he was married, and I never forgot him. And I didn't tell my other family about it, and they had that against me. They said, "Look, why didn't you tell me?" I said, "That was a different in the past, more than what you did." My husband knew about him, and they were a bit upset, but they met him and they got along all right with him. And he's married, he's got a family. And then I had met Ian, that's my husband's name. And my husband we lived in Cornish Street, up on Top Hill. And we got married in the Registry Office because I was pregnant. And I was in the hospital, and a week after he was born, the child was born. And that was funny, that part, because they used to bring him around and ripping his hair. And I said, I got the wrong baby here. I had a boy, girl and a boy. And I said, I think I got the wrong baby, because he had that much hair that they could put his hair up with a ribbon up the top. And because I next to me had a girl. And I said, I think I got the wrong baby here. And they all laughed, and I said, what was the secret of it? And he said, oh, you never mind. So from that on, we moved to from that on, he could get a job at Broken Hill, and then we left him, he got the railways, and then I had my second child. I had one at Balaclava and all the small South Australian towns, Balaclava, Jamestown, and all the small towns. And I come here, and I only had one head when I come here. Then I had grandchildren, and then I've got great-great-grandchildren now. I've got my fourth great-great-child coming in, and I've got 5 grandchildren coming. So I'm getting there, making me feel old. I've had 2 birthdays here. I was 82, now I'm 83. But like I said, when you got your first child, it's a good feeling to be, but we had times when we were struggling because he was always away all the time and always. And it's hard when you've got children to bring up and you don't see your husband. But like I said, you've got to get through these things, and people realise that, oh, how do you do it? You don't see how much your husband does. Well, he can't help it, he's got to get the earnings. But it's just one of these lives people don't realise, because I think they used to be the man and the wife, you know. And I think it's just, you've got to bear one. And because he got up, I said, when he was home, he used to play with his grandchildren. And my grandchild said, don't sit on Poppy's chair, you'll make Grandma upset. And I said, look, don't worry if you upset me. I'd rather you talk about him. And you don't forget him, because a lot of grandchildren do forget their grandparents. But he said, I'll upset you, Grandma. I said, no, you won't. I'd rather you sit with him, talk to him, and you remember him. And he often says now, and then when he had his first child, I was born on his grandpa's birthday. He was born on the 20th of March, and my husband's birthday's on the 20th of March. So that was a good thing too.
Yeah.
And so it's just, life just goes on with them. But I don't see much of them now, because I think they've got their own life. And my oldest son grew up he's lived in Port Booth, bought a house. He's had a stroke. He was only 63. And he's got his left arm and left arm and leg. He can use it, but he can't drive the car properly. And the doctor told him to use it, because otherwise he was a stiff arm. And he's had 3 now, this is his worst one. And he comes and sees me when he can, but he worries about me, Jess. And he says to me, I'll worry about you. I said, don't worry about you, look after your life, and you look after yourself, I'm all right here. And he comes in when he can. And I said, look, you look after yourself, because you're only young yet. And I said, you look after yourself, I'm all right. If anything goes wrong, they give him a ring anyway, so they check on him. They check and say, Mum's all right, in good care.
Yeah.
It's good. And And he's not, he had 2 children, you know, he's my granddaughter, his daughter. She's having her first baby, and then she's having a girl. And she's calling it Maya. And she's been in the senior. So I've had, it's a good, people really, it's a good thing to be though. It's a good feeling to know you've got grandchildren, because I thought more of them when I did my own children. And it's a good feeling to know that you've got great grandchildren and they're growing up, and you know their life's going to be, because you know you teach your children the same way, and I think my grandchildren is doing the same thing. And they said, "But Mum," they said, "Grandma, it's a bit hard." I said, "Well, they'll get to know the ways of things, and you can't run their life for them. They've got to do it themselves." And say, I didn't want to be independent, that's why I come in here, because I know they've got their own life. And I didn't want to be, I know it's a hard thing, I didn't want to be a burden to them. And I knew I had to, you know, come in here otherwise. And I was sitting at home, not having no one to come and visit me. And you're sitting there all day, no one came. But here you've got friends and you can mix in, and you know you've got something to do, and you're amongst friends. And I'm happy here. Not sad like I used to be. It's a good feeling to know that you've got friends around you, you know, and you can be happy with them and just join in, you know. And you're not home thinking, oh, well, I'm not wanted or something, and that's how I felt. Because I was getting old, and the family didn't come and see me, and that's an awful feeling, but that was just in me. Because I brought them up, and what I do as I got older, they're getting old now, I'm not wanted. That's how I felt. And it was a normal feeling to be. What I did to when I was young, and all the times I looked after them, and I know you shouldn't be like that, but that was me, myself. And my life with the earrings have been a bit tough, but like I said, we had a hard time and we got through it. And you just have to, because that's a part of life. And you don't know what it's like until you start losing somebody, and then you're being alone by yourself. You know, I would say I've come back. I haven't seen my children, but I've come back to life. You know what I mean? By being here, and I haven't got that feeling I'm not wanted there. I know it's an awful feeling, but I'm with people, and I'm not by myself sitting there all day and looking at 4 walls, you know. And with the activities, like with the bowls, and I do knitting and pen work and making pens, and I make bookmarks and key rings and that. Well, I've never done that before at home. It's just something to do well to my mind now. So I feel happy here. My parents died. They died a fair while ago. My husband didn't know my parents at all. My grandchildren didn't know them because they both died before they were born. Yep. And they come in there, my children used to go to school, and they used to talk about their grandparents, and they say, I haven't got none. But my children used to go to school and say, oh, my grandparents are old. And one of my grandchildren said, mine's not old, mine's young. I said, oh, thank you very much. Yeah. Because I used to go and play with them and join them. But they lived in Broken Hill. He didn't work with me, he didn't work. And she had diabetes. They both died of diabetes. She had no toes. She lost 5 toes for diabetes because she wouldn't go and see a doctor. She had one sore and she let it spread. And I get one sore and go to the doctors. So I know what diabetes like. No, Mum, I go to the doctors. You got to be careful. I cut myself here, and he used to say a little cut, but it bleeds like everything being diabetic. So I've had it through the family, and it was just the way. And my daughter's 26. She died suddenly. Oh. She passed. She's flat. Yep. She was waiting for a taxi, waiting for an ambulance to come and take her to the hospital, and she died on the way to the hospital. And I had to go and identify the body. My husband couldn't do it, and that made it worse too. Oh. So I've gone through a hard life with it, but I think you know you just got to do it. Because my husband was always a big baby, he never done anything wrong. I think he couldn't hack it. Because he had tears in his eyes and he used to say, why can't an old fella like me go and see a young girl like her? And he died 2 years after her. He just couldn't hack that she would take it that she died. It was from my there onwards I had, like I said, I had break-up marriages and all that. But it was a thing I had to bear for one thing after another. And I pulled forward for 5 years, you know. But when you get it all at once, it takes a lot of air, but you still have to do it. And they said, you're a hard woman. I said, yeah, well, you've got to be hard to go through these things like that with no husband and that to do it. But people say, don't matter who you are, women say, you think it's not going to happen to you, but it does. And you think other people do it and say, oh, well, it doesn't happen to me. When it does, you know you've got to do it. Because it's just a part of life. True, could have dumped my children and didn't care about them. But I didn't. I put my children first. And I wasn't working, I was only getting money income. As long as I knew that I had food and that. And I had 2 daughters to my name. Because I'll give it to my children. And that was a hard life. So I knew I had to give it to them. And people think, oh, why do it? I said, well, you bring your children into the world, they're yours. You can't give to yourself and not give to your children. I said, I'd rather go without and see my children have it. That was my part of life. Yeah, I think for maybe a hard woman that way, you know, because I knew I had to do it with my children. And I think life's been hard, but I knew I had to live it and do it. Not only for my sake, but for the kids' sake too. And I think part of it was from my husband too as well, because he wasn't there. And half the time I wish he was there to do it because I had my responsibility on my shoulders. But I used to pray at night and say, thank you for leaving me with all these tough troubles all on my shoulders, or thank you, you know. And I wish he was there to help me and all that. That was things that I knew I had to do. And I said to myself, oh, I've got to do the same. How can I do it? You know, I was praying, and the voice said, you can do it, you know, you got to do it, just do it. Tell yourself you got to do it. And I think I've got more clothes now than I did before when I had the children, because I couldn't buy anything. And my husband used to say, move out, where's my space? He had that space in the wardrobe and I had. But it was a good life though. I can't really grizzle, you know. It's a part to be the memory. And they talked about it because it's, like I said, one little boy said, why can't I go and play with my dad? I said, your father's not here. You know, when they come to think of it, you've got to explain to him what happened. It's a hard time. But he said, is he watching me? I said, yeah, he's up there watching you. You had to tell him. But it was a hard thing to really tell a 4-year-old where his father died. As he got older, he knew. And he said, why haven't I got a daddy and go with other people and all that? And I said, oh, he's up there watching you. But he doesn't love me. I said, yes, he still loves you. Well, what happened to him? You know, and this is the thing I had to say something to explain to him, being a 4-year-old. And it was hard. The other ones got older and they knew. And, you know, but it was a hard feeling. But they grew up all right. They got their own families and now they've got a good life. I got 2 here. I got 3 here. The one that Bob Perry comes here, and the boy I don't see him. I don't see my daughter or my son here. They disown me. I don't know why. Don't know what I've done. And I always wished that my family did more for me, but they wanted it that way. That's the way it is. But like I always say, if you don't look after yourself, you never will. You only got one life. and you only got one love, and that's. And I still love my children. He was as well. He used to work, and I used to get a bit wild with him, and he used to get called out on the weekends. And I said, why do you have to work the weekends? Why can't someone else do it? He said, oh, no one else will go. I said, so it's about time we had a break. He ended up with a heart attack because he had to work all 9 days, because the other ones wouldn't go out and do it, Jess. And he ended up with a heart attack. I said, you're going to end up killing yourself the way you're going. Oh. So when you're in a rise, you go from one place to another place for 2 years. And you work for 2 years and you can transfer. And I had 3 children, and I worked at Kalina and no shop. So we had to wait till the train come out with bread and milk and do a fortnight shop in Kalina. And which was good because the kids could save money and then money for life, which helped them because I had to teach in school though. And when we wanted milk and that, they had to come out. Well, he went with all different places like that in the always. But he had to work weekends too, because he was on call. I said, you're going to clean up. He said, but you don't want to do it. I said, well, make them go for us. Excuse my language. I said, make sure they get the backside. I want you home with the kids. The kids don't see much in the car, but and it was a hard life, like I said. I had babies and little ones too when he was working. But he wanted to work, so I couldn't do nothing more about it. So,
yeah. It was his way of loving.
Yeah. But when he was home, he wouldn't let me work on Sundays. I always said, he said, oh, we're going, come on, we get the kids, we're going for a drive on Sunday. And he wouldn't let me do any work on Sunday. We're going for a drive out. He used to pick up the kids and we'll go for a picnic if it's a nice day. He just wanted to spend a day with me and the kids, because he was working the weekends. It was, because like that. I didn't meet his parents. I didn't know his parents at all. So I met, and I didn't know his sister. He had a sister. We tried to find her when we got married. We couldn't find her. But I didn't meet his parents, and he didn't know my parents. I think because we had to sort of do everything ourselves with no parents. We got married in the religious don't believe it or not. I was out. And he's saying, I'm saying, you better hurry up and come on, I'm going to have this baby. And he said, I can't wait. A fortnight time he came in and it was about, I had it. I said, you work it? Because you had to get time off work. And I said, well, that was a lucky bit. And it was over a fortnight I had the baby born. I can laugh back at the times when you can laugh, and it's good memories, and we had hard times, but it was good memories. I've gone to think about it. Like my parents had a hard time. I didn't see much. I didn't often talk about their grandparents, and I said, you didn't go to grandparents. And because one of the boys come home and said, why haven't I got any grandparents? People talk about the grandparents. I said, oh, yours died. He said, what? I think they like to people talking about their grandparents, and they didn't have any. And they used to call them Poppy and Pop and Nana. But I said, it's just the way it is. You know your grandparents, they died before you were born. I think that's why my children took their father, because they had no grandchildren. Yeah. And I wish he was alive now to see his grandchildren. But he died, I'm sorry, he only 50, so he won't see his grandchildren grow up, so. But his great-grandchildren, I mean, And I often wish that he could, He scared me too when he had a heart attack. He just about collapsed in the back. I said, you all right? He said, yes, I'm all right. And he's sitting there, and he's talking to me. And he's passed on the floor. And I said to the ambulance, look, he's not breathing. He said, I could see, and his chest wasn't working. And he was there like that for half an hour before they come and took him. And I knew he had a heart attack, and all he was gone in. He went to hospital with him, and I said, he's gone. Yes, I said, I know that. I thought he was gone before he picked him up. I played a bit of basketball, but that's about all. But at school we used to play games in the schoolyard and that, but that was what. But I was never a football. My children were football fans, but I'd never been a sport fan. I didn't think I had time. I was married at 19, they took the first child at 19. We had because we could see, when we had the railways, we had these shacks. And we were in a place with 4 shacks, 4 houses on. And we had summer funds for the kids. We went to driving one day, one night with the kids, and we went to put the kids in the bed, and there was a rat in the bed. A great big rat. And my husband said, "Don't put the child in the bed." I said, "What for?" He said, "Take him in our room, I've got to get rid of this big rat out of the..." I had to wash everything the next day for air, and the window was open. And I had that much bed, and I had 4 kids in the bed. We were all struggling. We had to be out, because we had to be out for 2 days or 3 nights like that, just to air the room off. And I had things laying around here, and we had a hole in the roof. I remember we put the newspapers on the floor, and we had to catch them, because they're these old houses, And my husband said, my son said, "I want to go to my bed." I said, "I think you'll be all right tomorrow." And I said, "I think everything's all right." But we got rid of them, I hate mice. I had them in my house when we had that, my house in Port Pirie.
Oh, yeah.
When we had that mice plague.
Oh, yeah.
I used to sit up at night and wouldn't go to sleep. I'd to go get up on the bed or something, And I couldn't put the poison down because I had a cat. And I had traps everywhere. I could put the poison down where he wouldn't go. But he used to go behind cupboards and wall, the cat. When he joined because he couldn't get a job and stuff, joined the railways. I said, "Oh, all the places you've got to go." He said, "Well, you'll get to know the people." I said, "Yeah." It was good because you got to know the people, or you got to know the people in the railways. But I didn't see much of my husband, but I think I had a baby if someone went and stopped her. I think he would have kept going too if I didn't stop. Because I had 2 miscarriages besides what I got now. But I had them all 2 years apart. And I said, "Oh, it's all up for you, you're not having them." So my children were my life.
Yeah.
And I think as you get older, as you see them grow up, you think, "Oh gee, I've done a good job by raising them," how they've turned out to be. But you can look back and laugh at how the good times are. But they never went hungry, no matter what. I made sure they had food. They had a treat now and again. I give them a lolly or an ice cream now and again. I would never let them go without. Even the Bible went without. But they had their treat. Because when we got that food on the thing, I used to get a bucket of ice cream, so they can have a bit. Because in them no lorries, they have something. And then when we went to town, when we went in a fortnight, "Oh, we can have a lorry now." They always be pleased with. He'd come home with a bag of lorries, because he couldn't have them for a fortnight.
Yeah.
Till my husband come in to get them. But it was good times with them though. I can remember laughing at it. But we had no TV or anything then. So all we had was the wires, and we never had TV until we come to Port Pirie. In there, because it was just the hard times that we had to put up with the railways and that, which I would never regret, because I thought, going on the railways, I don't think I could handle it, when you thought of it. But because, like I said, you see different places in Malta, Balaclava, all those places, so it's a good variety of shops and it's in the sceneries. Good memories I've got of my marriage and having my children and family. I will never regret it. They brought life into me. I love my children, and I think it's one of the memories of when you're pregnant and you're having a human being inside you. It's a good feeling. Like people say they don't want babies, but I can't. In fact, it might be able to happen, but it's a good thing to to have a good memory that you know you belong to that person, and it's a part of you, and you'll never forget about it. Because when I saw when my son came out with, when my second son was born, he was born yellow jaws. He came out with water. He couldn't wait to go by the doctor. And then, you know, they're getting you ready to come in. And I had a pain in nose down thing, and she said, "What's this?" He said, "Oh, you caught him in your arms." He said, "He can't wait to get into the world." And he was born yellow jaundice. He was put in a human crib. I said, "Oh, it's good." You know, that was a good point. That was a memory I can remember back. So I've lost him there, but he pulled through it. He was only a small baby, but it's just the way he came out, the way he came out. His water broke and he came out with it, so. Which is, well, just while I was in the hospital, I could have been home, which is good because I only had 3 hour labour, all of them were 3 hour labour. I remember going to the hospital once, and this poor woman was screaming her head up, and I said, "What's the matter with her?" She said, "She's in labour, she's been like it for a day." I said, "Oh, poor thing," and here I am, 3 hours and I've had my baby and she's still going. And you feel sorry for them, because you can hear them screaming with pain. So I went to senior citizens joined all that, and went to paid cards that set up. And once you get in the mix of people, you seem to know, you know. And that's until I took sick and couldn't move out the house. But it's good, because I said, I'm not going to Port Burr. That's why we bought the house here, because my husband we used to come over to the dentist with the kids. And then we bought the house here. My husband bought the house when he retired. And that's how we come to live in Port Perry. I never think he would. But he said, "Going back and forth, we come back over here and do the fortnightly groceries." He said, "Going back and forwards all the time for the doctors or the dentists and that." He said, "We're going to move to Port Perry, so we end up here." I had a good life here. Like I said, I'm never part with it. I think I'll die here. I've got my husband and my husband's grave and my daughter's grave. So they're both here at the cemetery. So it's just my life story, and I don't think I'll regret it. I haven't got grey hairs for it yet.